Ready?
All right.
I'm going to start off by saying you're going to hate this.
I'm going to hit this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm also going to start off by blaming somebody named Ruthie.
Who?
Ruthie?
Ruthie.
Ruthie?
Ruthie.
Because she suggested this topic and we're going with what our fans suggest. Guess
So-
what it is?
I don't want to guess. I'm scared.
Take a guess.
I
Come
don't-
on, give me a guess.
I don't want to know.
It's about sex.
It's about sex?
Yeah. Let's
Why
talk
do you
about
think
sex,
I would know
baby.
anything about that stuff?
I wouldn't know either anything about
okay,
it.
okay, let's try.
Okay. So we're going to talk about one night stands and the reality of casual sex.
I'm too old. From old school.
I told you wouldn't like it.
No, but I think I can say a few things. La.
Okay, I will ask you my first question.
Hmm.
Do you think sex in the modern day has been reduced?
Reduced?
Yeah. To nothing.
Yeah. I think it's something, it's like a gesture, I think our hugs have more honesty than our sex. At least the way I see it. When you hug somebody, you really like that person. I don't know whether you can simply hug somebody, which they do, but I'm saying our hug has retained its morality, its rightness. You hug somebody because you want to include them. It's almost like, okay, I include you. I think sex is even more intimate than that. I'm okay for all the modern expression, the liberation, but I think they've used the word liberation without really looking into the implication of it, I don't know whether a person can survive casual sex. That's all I'm saying. I don't know. It's like this. I always ask people this question, Somebody drink from a glass. There's half glass of water left. It's good water. Will you take it and drink it? People will say, no, I don't think so. So since you have that decorum, how can you go there? And I understand the excitement of it. I'm not understanding the animalistic, the danger, the experiment, the new. And I'm saying it's all okay. If somebody does it, that's fine. But I don't know whether that's what you want to make sex to be. You see, the nature of sex itself, it needs adventure, it needs danger, it needs rawness, it needs wildness, it needs uncertainty. These are all the things that make somebody feel awake. Like if somebody stands on the ledge of a building, the arousal they get, then standing inside is slightly different. So sex has this component of arousal that I become awake, I become alerted, agreed. But I think simply to do something for that, simply to stand on the ledge of a building just to feel aroused, sooner or later that's going to run out. Then standing on the ledge will not do it. Then you go further. This is like the dopamine addiction. You need something more and more and more and more and more. And at the end, what happened? You see, there's a study done, like a lot of these people who have done porn and all that, they followed their life after 10 years, 20 years, it didn't turn out very good, for most of them. They turned out very depressed, very suicidal. I think I acknowledge, like, why would I do surfing? Why would I, in golf, take a dangerous shot or
Scuba dive?
Or why would I hook up the marlin, the fish, and jump up and down? I agree about becoming awake, catching a surf. I agree about becoming awake. But that becoming awake must not be at the cost of your preciousness. By right, you must be awake to share your preciousness. See, I'm not talking about somebody who has sex with somebody, they should get married. I'm not saying that. I'm saying afterward, they can survive them. They can be okay with them. They still find themselves precious. You see, the addiction of dopamine high, the excitement, the thrill is an addiction, Is an addiction. And for many people, such extreme makes them feel awake, aroused. And I feel like the ultimate arousal must be, I want to share myself with somebody. I want to go there with somebody. I would not make it casual. I would make it profound. But again, when I say I make it profound, I don't want to go back to the 1950s, 40s, and 30s, where it was so restricted, it destroyed human brain too. I also want it to be modernized. You see, and even this subject of casual sex came because of religious repression over thousands of years. People were repressed, and that caused all kinds of problem. In 1960s, when they came up with the Kinsey's report in regards to sexuality, that shook human consciousness. But I think now we have gone to another extreme that it has no meaning. It is not even as much as a hug. So I think if you can take care of yourself, it's a precious thing. If you want to do it with somebody, and even if that is just temporal, as long as it's precious, I think it's valid. If not, you yourself are saying there's nothing here. I'm just a high. It's like this. When we were in Australia, we lived at the Manly Beach. And outside there was a surfing community. They were surfing the Whale Beach. They were surfing. I used to go hang out with them. They all become surfing junkies. They're surf addicts. They themselves call themselves, they're the surfers. But do you know, for them, the ocean is sacred. That process is sacred. After some time, it becomes almost spiritual. Them and the wave is something. Yes, they are aroused. They are awake. They are in that moment. They can wiped out. They can die. But it also became something more than just the act. So to me, I think people are trying to make it into, it means nothing. My worry is, if you make it means nothing, will you be nothing? I know sometimes when your life is dull, boring, they call it the theory of the librarian or something. When somebody is very docile for a long period of time, they want to go wild because they want to wake up their energy. I understand. And there is a demand for you to wake up. Let's say you've been working somewhere very quiet. You are quite suppressed. You want to come out to express, you agreed. But to express you in such a way that it doesn't destroy you. I need to know, no matter what you do, tomorrow you still feel you worth loving. You have something to offer. You have not destroyed intimacy. I hope you love many people. Again, I'm not talking about casual sex. I hope in this lifetime many people love you, but can you retain the quality that I will be loved? My worry is not the act. The act is an act. Sometimes it doesn't mean anything. I'm worried about the implication. To me, that act should be with somebody who you think is precious, somebody who you think is... It should be a deeper hug.
Do you think it always has to mean something?
No. Because if I say it has to mean something, if you have done something that's not meaningful, you're going to get hurt. So I have to morally say, no, it doesn't have to mean something. But the one that doesn't mean anything, you don't carry it with you. You throw it away. You look for something that means something, isn't it? It's not that everything should mean something. It's like this, Not everyone you hug, there's a meaning to your hug. But the one that you felt something in the hug is the one you want to stick with, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems like now, if we look back like 30, 40, 50 years, it was a very repressive society. There's no premarital sex, there's no kissing, there's none of that. And even when you are in a marriage, the woman is almost just at the whim of the male. Like if he wants to have sex, there's no in-marriage rape even, you just... So there's no like liberation in sexuality, especially for women. And of
there's
course,
no confession. We were asked to lie about our own self.
Yes, to act like women don't even have that inside of them.
Agreed. Okay.
But now we've come to the other end of the spectrum. We are more liberated than ever before. There's so much more casual sex. Do you think it's an overcorrection?
Yeah. And that's how it is. And that's why you're even talking about it. We have to find a middle path. But remember this, whenever you correct something, the correction itself will go wrong. It's bound to. We were repressed. Now we are overexpressed. Now it becomes something else. I think it is up to you to give a meaning to it. Up to you to hold it, what it means to you. right? And I'm not saying anything. I don't want to say a single word about it because you know why? No matter what I say can be translated into morality and somebody will feel bad about it. All I'm saying is, careful. It's your life. Figure out what you want. Figure out what you can survive. And when you can't, stop it. Maybe you want to do the casual until you find, no, now I need to find something meaningful. But these are all evolutionary. But the initial impulse that I know is I want to become awake. It's something once somebody said, no, a guru said very beautifully, he said, why is there obsession to sex? We don't sing, dance, hunt. We don't do all those things. So the only place we have any honesty of a gender is that act. You know? Like those days for a man to have an excitement, he doesn't need sex, you know. He has to go out and wrestle a buffalo or fight a tiger. He has that to wake him up. This was just an aftermath. Now, since that is not there, this becomes the only place somebody feels alive, honest, in touch with their biology. And I'm afraid that we are using sex to wake the gender. We are not finding a way to express the gender. To me, when I grew up, sex was the last thing in our head because we were running around chasing wild boars and hunting fish and climbing mountains and fighting. Of course, we look at a woman and say hello. But it was very innocent. We didn't go to sex to feel the excitement of my gender. To me, the reflection of casual sex simply means there is nowhere else you are expressing your gender. So that's the only place it kicks in.
You think regardless of gender identification, it is an expression of your gender, even if you are like gay, straight, trans, whatever it is?
All of it. It's just an expression of your gender.
Or maybe could you say it's just an expression of your biology even?
Yes, the biology wants to confess to itself. If I like a woman, I guess I'm a guy. If a girl likes a guy, I guess she's a girl. I think it's a
I guess you are straight.
If I'm straight. I think it's a gender. But remember this, I don't want to add any confusion to the subject, to the person who's asked the question. This is our generational dilemma. I am not sure. It depends on individual. It depends on individual, you know. Like I cannot hug somebody that I don't like. I will not hug, I will avoid. For some people they can. It doesn't mean anything. They can hug and it's just a casual thing they do. But I think the question I'll pose in regards to sex is, what does it mean to you? What does it represent about you? I have a feeling is gender choosing to express its gender in the purest form with one another in the name of intimacy.
Do you think that like, if it's honest, even if it is casual, then it's fine?
Then I won't say it's fine. I'm an old man. I will say it's far more acceptable if it's honest. If it's honest, it doesn't leave a trace.
I think a lot of the pursuits for sex these days are based and rooted in dishonesty. I have to pretend to be this kind of person so I can get them in bed and this and that.
Yeah. And it's like a scoring. It's like a winning. And that's ugly. Sex as itself, it's designed for you to find the mate to produce the baby that can come to be. That's it. It's designed, at least the way I see it. Biologically. But it's also a tool for bonding. Oxytocin, now we know the hormones kick in, you bond. Can somebody do that with multiple person? I think we were designed to do that because those days,
there was no monogamy.
There's no monogamy. No, and people don't survive. Somebody goes out to hunt, you don't know whether he comes back. So all that monogamy is a current creation.
And you know, that's why babies when they're born look like their dads.
Yeah.
Because you don't know how many.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Oh. So that the father can identify the child immediately.
Okay.
Because I mean, for the mom, it's in her belly. She knows it's hers. But
there you see. But I'm saying this, what would I like to say about this subject? I'm saying you are precious. as long as that is not comes into question, I guess it's a memory. It's something you do. There are times you meet somebody in an airport or somewhere for a moment, you had a good time and never meet them for the rest of your life. If that is a true meeting, there's something beautiful about it. But if it's distorted to something else, my statement is, am I the same person before, during and after? Did it alter me? Did it express me to me? Am I me? Again, you must understand, I'm telling this to the modern world. You don't ask the older people, no, we don't know. You are forging a whole nother reality with a whole nother dilemma. I'm just telling from my wisdom of watching many people hurt by it. What happened, what is the hurt is they start believing they are not good for intimacy, they are not good to be loved, which is not true. No matter what you have done, it is not true. You deserve to be loved. You see, there's something called tantriki in the ancient India. The tantriki is what, no matter what I do, God will love me. That's their direction, that I cannot be dirty. So I do not want to say a single morality that will make you feel whatever you did does not or excludes you from being loved. Having said that, hold yourself rightly.
I think that what's the word? To lessen someone due to their sexual history or whatever is just a tool of control. Like when we're speaking on this, we're not judging anybody. You do you. You could have had 100 sexual partners.
Okay.
That's on you.
Beautiful.
We're not here to put judgment onto anybody. We're just here to discuss the subject because I don't think it's fair to do that.
Right. But I think you have to find out what is it for you. It is an honest expression of you being you, then fine. And sex, now we know, is not just the act. It's just, everything is, in a way, sex. Meeting, being intimate. So.
Do you think that this more moving towards this world that's more sexually free, do you think it's a good thing? Or do you think
more
it's
sexually
free? Do you think it's a good thing? Because in a way that, look at how, people who are gay and queer and trans, they can actually be themselves.
Be what?
Be themselves. They can express their love. In that sense, it's definitely good. But in a grander scheme of things, do you think it's we're going too far? Do you think there's a line? What do you think?
No, I don't have any idea about it. No thoughts.
No thoughts.
I'm not sure. I'm neither for it nor against it. All I am saying is, to whom you want to wake up your gender totally and express it in that dimension, that is your responsibility, it's in your hands. And as long as it's honest and true, I think you will survive it beautifully.
So Ruthie, who asked this question, she said she'd love an expanded point of view on the opportunity and possibility we can access when we treat sex and ourselves as sacred, and why that's important for us to understand.
I don't understand the question.
So what's your point of view that what within us can we access when we treat sex as sacred?
No, you are sacred who happen to have the sexual faculty. I don't know whether sex is sacred, but the one who owns this sex is sacred. You are sacred. And for me, I would like the act to be part of that sacredness, not something that minuses sacredness. I don't know whether sex is sacred. I have a dog there, a Belgian Shepherd. It's on heat. She's 1 year old. She just recently got a menstrual. You can see she's the local slut now. With every boy she's lying down, she's doing, and she doesn't even know what it is. So you know her biology is kicking in. She's in love with Bob. And I'm looking at her and she's looking at the dog and going like, it's just going crazy.
She's got her own thing
It is
going
almost
on.
like, get a room, girl. It's like horrible. She's rolling like this, she's doing this, and she's a fierce dog. That is, she bit somebody.
She's a Belgian Shepherd. She's
And
scary.
she just bit somebody off. And what is that? Wow, that's biology kicking in, right? Okay, that we understand. The biology kicking in, hormones kicking in, she's ready to procreate. Same thing with human being. Okay. But if you only allow it to be just a biological expression, then you miss you. This is happening to you, right? This is happening to you. You cannot use this as an excuse to minus you. You are there. So it's up to you to hold it the way you should hold it. You understand? I am not judging anybody. I always tell what happens in the bedroom, what happens in privacy. Don't talk to me about it. I don't want to know. That's why it happens there. It's within you, that person, your silence, your insight. I said, don't bring it up. This is not to be talked publicly. This is your privacy that has to be kept. But since you asked the question, you were born into a biology that has sex in it. How are you going to hold it? Be conscious of it. My worry is you might do something and start thinking you are not sacred. You don't deserve to be loved. I'm saying that is not true. You cannot do anything for that to happen, but it can come to pass. So I will say,
I think it's definitely something you need to come into on your own.
Yeah.
And your valuation within it all.
Wow. You see, you have the answer for that question.
Yeah, I have the answer for it because I've thought about it for my whole life.
Right, yeah. And it's about you and what you want to do with this. Nobody else's business.
I think the problem though, if I just use myself as an example, and I've spoken about it before, is that people put it onto you and then you wear it as your narrative. I was just a young girl, big boobs, what to do. Everybody sexualized me. And so I thought that that was me. Took me years to come and say, that's a part of me. That's not me.
That's it. Maybe that's the only discussion. How the world will label you. Don't lose your right to label you because that act may happen with another.
And for me, I was 13 years old. There was no sex happening for me. It was just the way I looked. It just happened to fit
but
that
I'm
narrative.
I'm answering the question.
Yeah.
The question is, see, you get into that act, you define what is it for you. Don't allow the other to freely define you. And respect how the other defines themselves. And I think if you are conscious, this will be okay. If not, it's something that is going crazy in the biology. May is the perfect example. She's going crazy. She doesn't know what that is. She hasn't seen it. She brought up in captivity. She's just losing it. And little while, I think the heat goes away, she'll be normal again. So we know it's also hormonal. It's also biological. It's also cyclic. Now, the question is, how are you going to wear it?
How are you going to define it for yourself?
Bingo. And I think it's very different for each individual.
It's a very different for men and women as well.
To me, I think on a personal, if I have a personal idea, it's just being honest. Just being honest. Like if I get angry with somebody who I know, I'm actually telling my anger, the way I'm showing it is I'm being honest to you. With somebody else, I'll be political. So to me, that's honesty. So it's about whom I can be honest with, that it will not be twisted, you know. What is my view about free sex? Please don't be that free.
Okay, wait, that brings me to my next question. I'm just curious, we've talked about Osho a few times. What do you think about his whole free sex movement?
This is so good. You brought the question up. Osho is one of my gurus. I learned with him. He had an incredible, profound impact on my life in regards to learning. But I never agreed with the free sex. And I don't think he did too. It's just something that happened out of the 60s. I do not agree. I was never part of it.
Just a disclaimer, everyone.
By the time I was like 23, he died. So I missed him.
You just studied him.
I studied him before, but by the time I was ready to get involved, he already passed on. So 1990, he died. I think there was a very big mislabel with Osho and free sex. It's a movement of the 60s. His idea was freedom. And part of it is this. To say he was free sex, not really. I don't believe. I don't, but it's just a false narrative of him. It's just how he got attention or created a shock in people. But I don't agree. I am into families, into marriage, into raising children. But not that he was wrong, He never believed in marriage. I don't believe in marriage too. I believe in love. Marriage seems to be the institution I must be in to be right by one another. So, no, I am in the opposite direction. But if you remove that of Osho, almost everything he says is gold. He's one of the most wisest men of his time. And I believe in the future there's going to be before Osho and after Osho. For the liberation he brought to this word enlightenment, awakening. But what he said that I'll defend him in is, he said, be honest. He says, in order for you to be how you were before, with the repression, you are dishonest. He says, be honest. The misunderstanding of honesty is
to feed straight into the biological impulses.
And just go crazy and do with anything and everybody, like which is not what he said. He was for love. He was more free love. The definition of free sex, he was prosecuted for it for no reason at all. But if you have a freedom today, he gave it, If people can go and
do whatever
without having suicidal thought, he had a contribution to it. I'm glad he did it. I will never do it.
You think he had such a global contribution?
He had. All the therapists, right now, almost every person is a bit of a copy of him. And he's the one who set the motion.
He just had, I think, unfortunately, like so much noise that spoke louder than his work at times.
No, but he had to. Look at how many people we have on our podcast. You look at how many people we have on our Instagram. If I want the world to take notice of me, I have to do something that exaggerated. I don't care. I always say, I don't love as much as he does. I don't care. Those who want to find me, you find me and you come to me. He went and found people. He made sure the whole world could hear his message. He loved more than I do. I don't care. I produce this work. It is here. If you search for it, you find it, good for you. I am not searching for you. He did. Right? But you must understand, he was a monk. He didn't believe in relationships. He didn't believe in sex. He didn't believe. Ultimately, almost every one of them became celibate. That's what happened at the end of the day. So the freedom was out of repression, and I agree it got out of hand.
Yeah, definitely.
It's like everybody, do you know what happens when you have multiple partners? You will have no one.
Yeah.
The problem with having too many people, you will never have anyone. Then you will be utterly alone. And that was his objective. He wants us to confront our aloneness. To me, I'll say this about Osho. He's a very misunderstood person, but he's a genius of our time. And I thank him that I don't have that repression if he didn't say what he said and did what he did. So I am the beneficiary of that revolution. But I ask you this question, whose business is it, your sex? Whose business is it? It's yours.
Yeah.
And keep it that way.
It's just that I think in society, because I think of religious reasons, is that as if it is everybody's business.
Yeah.
But it isn't.
No, it's just people want to find ways to
reduce you.
To reduce you. Don't let them.
No.
You are more than that act. You are more than sex. You are love. You are beauty. You are enlightenment.
And you can be everything.
And that is the message Osho gave.
You can have that as part of you, but you can also have everything else that is part of you too.
Thank Osho for it. I don't know why we're going to Osho. But for the people who asking this kind of question, studying some of the things he put down will be helpful. I am a traditionalist. Because he did that, I'm doing this. If he didn't do that, probably I have to do it. He did what he did. People are liberated out of sex. Now I'm talking about relationship, togetherness, parenthood. I have to go here. You understand? But I leave you with this question. Whose business is it? How dare somebody question somebody else's right to their expression, to how they need to live themselves out? Don't give that right to anybody. Make it nobody else's business but your own and whoever you are with. If it means it's one night stand or if it means it's a temporary relationship, who is to judge?
Agreed.
Is that good?
I think that's good.
Yeah? What's the name of the girl who asked the question?
Ruthie.
Ruthie.
Peace. Thank you.
Thank you.